that's going. I gotta turn this guy on. Turn this guy on.
How long do you usually have you been interviewing people for? Just
Like half an hour
Cool.
like sometimes it goes an hour. Renzo's was like 2 hours long.
Wow.
You know, but he's got. I mean, there's so much there in terms of like his concept for the design and all of
Sure.
the iterations he went through, and then
Right.
it's he's got 3 years of stories,
Yeah.
right? And like how painful it was when they canceled the event and then canceled it again, and then had to reconstitute a whole new team. And we didn't get into a lot of the. Okay, and so this is test 1, 2. We didn't get into all of the kind of drama, but
The
like
nitty-gritty.
there's just a lot,
Right.
you know.
Probably try to keep it pretty positive, I imagine. Or
Yeah. I mean, because it was a positive experience, but it was stressful for him.
Oh yeah.
You know, like the night that we had the night that we had the "Why are you here?"
Right.
moment, like he was not into it.
Oh really?
Did you notice like he was like laying down?
Oh, he was toast.
He was just so stressed.
Oh.
And like I think that like he's like, well, I need to get this project finished, and you know.
Yeah. There's no time to relax until it's over.
Yeah, and I don't think he could relax, right? Because we still didn't know, was the ring gonna work? Was the flame gonna work? And it wasn't until the very last minute, and then they made him do all the strong backing,
Right.
which cost us a day,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. A lot of stress.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was overwhelmed.
I
remember
felt
when
for
the
him.
flame blew over, and it was like he was just, just sitting there with his, head between his knees, and people were going consoling him, and Rachel went over to him and like put her arm around him. Memphis did, and he was just like, he was crying. It's like, fuck, how are we gonna do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was intense.
Cool.
I went over to him and I was like, let's build another one.
Well, that's kind of what I thought. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, we just have to rebuild one. Like,
Yeah.
that's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But, I think he felt responsible and was like,
He felt bad, like he burdened us.
right. And it's a safety issue, and it could have gone worse.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, safety issue. Could have landed on somebody's tent or something.
Right. So then you're feeling guilty
Yeah.
about like a decision that was made to,
Yeah.
But anyway, okay. Errol, what's your last name?
We're recording right
Yeah,
now?
we're recording.
We're going? Okay. My name is Aaron Parks. Let me start that over. My last name is Parks. My name's Arrow.
Cool. Nice to meet you. And we're here in your coffee roasting shop on your property in, what's the name of this town?
This is Freestone, California.
Cool. And so I guess just I'm interested if you start out and tell me about your coffee background. Like, it's a little interesting to me.
Coffee background. I guess I've been in the coffee shop business since I was a kid. I worked at a coffee shop, and some friends of mine gave me an opportunity to buy a small coffee shop in my hometown, and I had my first business out of high school when I was 18, and I was just it kind of got me out of my shell. I was always really quiet in high school, and really shy kid, and I didn't have a lot of friends, and just really in my own world. And suddenly I was in this coffee shop world, and it got me out of my shell.
Mhm.
And I got to talk to all these people, different ages, different walks of life, and I made a lot of friends, and it just changed my world. So I kind of stuck with coffee shops and carpentry. I really always enjoyed wood shop in high school. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And then you had a coffee shop, and then you grew to a couple, like almost a chain of a few different shops.
Yeah, I just kept going. You just once you get the formula down, it's so easy to just create another spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I like creating spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm passionate about that. So it's creating spaces for people to go and feel comfortable and feel part of the community, and they can talk and share ideas. And coffee shop world is just really interesting. People come through. So I like that ethos.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And now you've got a coffee roaster over here, and you're supplying other people with coffee.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing private label roasting. So I roast for. I work with my friends, who have businesses now, and I roast coffee for them, and I put their label on it, so it's good for their business, and it keeps me going, and yeah,
Cool.
it's fun.
And am I correct that you built this, your studio here?
Yeah, yeah, my little coffee roastery. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Was that a COVID project, or did you build this years ago?
I built this about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it took me a little while, and I had some help from a couple friends. So yeah, it took me a little bit though. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's very comfortable. I slept here last night. It was fantastic. I appreciate your hospitality.
Thanks. Oh, of course, brother. Yeah.
So you were part of the Empyrean Temple build crew
Yep.
last year, and I'm curious how you got involved.
Gosh, I love Burning Man, and last year's my 10th year, and let's see, I think for myself, I had been working in these businesses, in the coffee businesses, so long, and I was just tired of trying to make money and, make it through life that way. And so I decided to do volunteer work, and I thought that would, could be more rewarding. So I just sought out a couple of years ago to just dedicate time and energy, a lot of it, to volunteering.
In just any capacity, not just Burning Man.
Yeah, the first thing I did was I volunteered for the Sea Shepherd, the Ocean Conservancy group, which has its own story. But I ended up going to Mexico for a month and working on 4 of the fleet ships, and I was a carpenter for those ships, so I was fixing and repairing, and I didn't go out to sea or anything. I was just there to help out with the ship and get that experience of just giving energy and not expecting anything in return. Just my own self gratification of just accomplishment,
Uh-huh.
And with the temple, I saw something on Facebook about volunteering, and it was close to where I live. It was in Santa Rosa, where they were doing pre-build. So I just said, why not? I'm going to go up there and just introduce myself and see if I can help and just check it out. It was an open invitation, so it was so cool. That was so close to home. I've always wanted to be a part of something, and the temple for me, for Burning Man, as you know, the temple is just it's different than everything else there. It's just like such a special heart connection, just spiritual, mecca of Burning Man. So yeah, I drove up there on the weekend and introduced myself to a couple people, and my friend George started putting me on panels, building the panels for Empyrean, and
George the Barber?
George the Barber, yeah.
Okay, so you knew George beforehand.
That's where I met him at the.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was one of the first people I met there, and he got me set on panels.
Cool. Let me move this up.
Yeah, sure. I didn't know we were starting, so a little, yeah, but
Yeah, no,
whatever.
it'll still, everything we got will be good. So, okay, so you went to the first, was it potluck or something? Is it?
No, I mean, they were taking care of everyone. I think Memphis was doing the food then, and she was really good about making sure everyone was well fed. And I'm a vegan, so I have a plant-based diet, and she was really accommodating for that. And I didn't go up there expecting anything. I just wanted to go and lend a hand and see what it was all about. And so I went up the next day and got more familiar with people there, and got to talk to Renzo a little bit, the architect, and we just had a good click, I think, as far as just who we are as people in the world, and we like building things. It's we had a good it felt like a friendship developed quickly with that, and I didn't know him that well, and I just kept coming back every weekend, and think he saw that I was being consistent, and I have time to volunteer and some skill levels with building.
Mhm.
Done a lot of building on my property, and yeah, I just told him basically, in these situations with in these big operations, like a big project like that, it's like there's so many factors and variables that are like constantly changing and coming into play that for me, committing my time and energy completely to it, I boiled it down with myself of what I wanted from the project and how I wanted to be integrated into the project. I basically I told Renzo, I said, I know you got a lot on your plate, and like I really want to be a part of this, and it felt like he wanted me to be a part of it as well. And I just said, I just need two things from you, and that's just to be treated with kindness and respect, and I'll take care of whatever I need to take care of to take the load off of your shoulders, because I want to be a part of this, and I just knew it was going to be a life-changing experience.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah, cool. And so then, what was your role in the pre-build? You helped George with panels, and were you building everything?
Panels were just a couple days. I probably built I don't know, a dozen, maybe not even that, 10 panels or something.
Mm-hmm.
And quickly, Renzo was looking for skilled carpenters, and he quickly transferred me over to doing rafters. So I was working with Chris with a K, and he was doing the cuts at the ends of the rafters, and I was basically assembling rafters. Rather than bringing huge beams out there, we were slapping together 2x12s and making them into large beams.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to have cuts that are like offset for strength and support. I know how to use a nail gun, and so I was moving these huge 2x12s and piecing them together and building the rafters.
And is the rafter the part of the canopy?
It's the endoskeleton of the canopy. Yeah, the large beams that were coming to these A-frame.
Oh, so the
points.
A-frame beams that hold up
Yeah.
the giant beam that goes
Exactly.
on top of it.
So I think most of those together just with a nail gun, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I was measuring and cutting, and it was nice because I like to, being someone who's usually been a manager at a business or an owner, it's hard for, once you're in that role, it's hard to sometimes it's hard to go to just like swabbing the decks,
Being the doer.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that. It's good for breaking down ego and just like, okay, like put me to work, and
Mm-hmm.
I like that too. I'm okay with that, but it was nice to feel I trusted and supported by Renzo, and he was like, you know how to do this, you're good. Ask me any questions you need. He was really helpful and supportive, but if I could put you on this task, that would be great. And I was just like, awesome, I got this. Like, it felt good. It felt gratifying to have that kind of support. Over the years, I'm usually just working by myself on projects, or I'll hire a friend to help me, but it was nice to be in that caliber of a project, be working on that caliber of a project, and to be, working under the architect himself, and him saying, if you can do this, go for it, and,
Right.
and it just felt really good. And I was just like, okay, he trusts me, he's giving me this, this responsibility, and I'm gonna work my hardest and just focus and try to make this, try to do what I can to be part of it and help.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. And so were the rafters, did you put them together and then disassemble them and put them into a kit? How did they actually, or did you take them out there assembled?
No. Well, no, the rafters were all, they weren't put together. It would just be too hard to get them on the truck. The span is just way too wide if we were to put them together, and they were easy enough to put together on the playa. So yeah, we had to bring them out there piece by piece. So all the measurements on the blueprints is like everything was there, and we just had to go work down the list of what sizes, because they went down in size or up in size, just depending on where we're working on, what part we were working on.
Right. And so when you got involved, the two canopies had been built at the winery,
Yeah.
right? They were already
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And then you're sort of recreating
Yeah.
each one of those canopies.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
funny because I hadn't gone up there to look at those and just check them out. For like a year or something, friends of mine, I have a couple friends that are burners around here, and they were like, "We got to go up and check this thing out." And they went up and checked it out, and I just I didn't make the effort to go up there, but I knew they were there. It was on my radar in the back of my head, and like I got to go up there. And then this opportunity came along to build, and I'm like, "Oh, this is something I could check out." So
Yeah, that's cool. And so then how many, you were on, this was a few months of building? You were just going every weekend?
yeah, yeah. So I think I missed the first weekend. I just didn't know it was happening yet.
Mm-hmm.
So from that point on, I was there. I was there every weekend. Yeah, till we brought it out to Playa. At one point, Tree J, who was working in Davis on the Flame and the Elden Ring, he needed some more carpentry. He needed some more carpenters. So, and I think Renzo wanted me to get to know him because he's an essential part of the build.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, "Would you mind going to Davis, for some weekends and see what that's like?" And so I was there from the first weekend in Davis through the whole, I think it was 6 or 7 weeks process of building the Flame and the centerpiece and the Elden Ring. But those again were like, those were in sections to fit on the truck. So I was there through that process till we loaded those on the trucks, on the truck, and then it was gone.
So the ring was kitted.
The ring was kitted.
Okay.
Yeah, and
There
the
was
Flame-
still a lot of work once you got to the Playa to build that thing.
Yeah, I wasn't so much a part of that on the Playa. That
Mhm.
was a different crew. I was more focused on the main structure. So yeah, it kind of like fit together like puzzle pieces. It was pre-assembled though, and that was a lot of work, and a pretty small warehouse actually in Davis.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. But a really good group of people, and made some good friends there, and it was a cool experience. There was a lot of driving. I was driving back and forth, and a big diesel truck, and it's a veggie oil truck actually, but I was running diesel at the time and going back and forth, and I would come home all the way home and go back to Davis. I'd do it twice on the weekends, but I like driving, and it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. And what about the Flame? So you, I guess I was under the impression that was all built on the Playa.
Well, I don't know if you want to cut this, but the one that blew over. Yeah.
That one was of course rebuilt.
Right.
But
the Flame, the diamond sort of patterns were everything was built in Davis. Yeah.
oh wow, cool.
And then it was put together all the what were they called, all the exterior, basically the skin of it was
The lap boards or whatever.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah, that was all put on, of course, on the Playa.
Right.
Yeah, tied it all together.
Uh-huh. Cool. And so then, were you part of the crew that went out to the desert like the first day?
I wasn't the first day. I wish I had been. I wasn't part of that group. There was people that needed to be there more than me. But I did. I think I was there the third day. I was there on Friday, and I actually was signed up to get my lift operator license from Black Rock City. So I drove out Thursday night with my Airstream I just built out and raced out there so I could be there in the morning for this class, because there was a dozen, I think, people that were going to be certified for lift operation.
Is that like that scissor lift?
Yeah,
things?
exactly.
Those things?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I made it there in time, and I slept a little bit, and I was handed a booklet to go through real quick, and everyone assured me it was going to be pretty easy, and it was pretty easy. So I passed, and I got my certificate, my little license to drive a lift at Burning Man. So that was cool too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. And so then the process of building the whole project, can you just sort of describe how it unfolded?
It was like hitting the ground running for sure, and it was chaotic a little bit and organized at the same time. Like an overall, like from the beginning, I was actually surprised when I was there like 3 days into it that they had already mapped everything out really well, and they had laid out a lot of the pieces, and trucks were already like partially unloaded, and things were like moving really fast. So just kind of getting my bearings and being in the desert and figuring out my own camping stuff and everything was kind of put on the back burner. It's like, okay, grab my tools and what are we doing today, and that's just kind of how it is out there. There's time for that other stuff, but the infrastructure was coming together quickly, and the kitchen crew was doing awesome, taking care of everyone. They were trying to figure out generators, trying to figure out the shower. I built a shower in Davis. That was a cool project that Tree J put me on, and that was fun.
The two camp showers we had.
Yeah, I built the shower parts, and did some work on the trailer and some other people, and then someone else came along and did the solar components and all that. But,
Cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
There were so many components to make this thing
project.
happen, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, there really was. Yeah. Yeah, mainly just energy, dedication, energy. People putting their hearts into it. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And so then, I guess, then you laid out the whole sort of base of the structure, and then started doing the rafters.
Yeah, I think by the fourth, maybe it was the third or fourth day, after everything started, we started putting rafters up, working our way from the smallest rafters up, and there's a lot of video footage of that, and it was cool to see that just like taking shape quickly, because we knew what we had to build, but it was a lot of steps to get there, and there's a lot of weight in the center from the ring, and there's a massive structure,
Yeah.
heavy massive structure. I think the ring, the Elden Ring that was in the center that held the flame, that was all supported by the canopies, the 8 canopies. I think the Elden Ring came in at somewhere around 15,000 pounds, and the guesstimate was it was going to be somewhere, I think, around 8 or something, substantially less. So the crane, when it came and lifted that, it was like, this thing's really heavy. So
Yeah.
we had to do some reinforcement work later. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you involved? Like, I remember when they did, because they used 2 cranes to move it into place. To
Yep.
put that ring into place.
Yeah, there was everyone was really safe, and there's a lot of it was all hands on deck, and everyone was kind of, how's this gonna go? The brackets had to be just right. Because when we lifted it up, the brackets were already in place, as you can see in the footage, and the brackets had to attach to the barge rafters.
Mhm.
And for me, I was like, I've done a lot of carpentry, and I do a lot of my own kind of engineering with my projects, and it was, I was skeptical. I was like, oh, it's a lot of weight up there, and okay, just trusting in the engineering, and the engineers know what they're doing. So
Yeah.
and it worked.
But it made you, like, I felt nervous.
Oh yeah.
When they were putting that place. One, is it going to fit?
Yeah.
And the two, is the whole thing going to collapse because it's so fucking heavy?
Yeah, I mean, and if you watch the burn footage, it's like once a few of the barge rafters, or once a few of the canopies rather, really, once the fire really took hold on those, that ring came down, and it just brought the flame with it. So, yeah, it was a little precarious,
Yeah.
but it worked. It felt precarious, but a lot of the crew were joking. A lot of us were joking at the time, like, once the supports were out of the way and the crane was gone, we're like, I don't want to get onto that. Let's wait for the wind to test it for us or something first.
Yeah. You had too much knowledge.
It
That,
just,
this is really a heavy structure.
that weight was just kind of insane up there. So that's why the engineers, I think, ultimately were telling us we needed to put more supports up there.
Right.
So, yeah. But yeah, it worked. It was successful.
Yeah. I remember when they asked for the strong backing, it reminded me of
Strong backing. Yeah.
like it seemed like it was over engineering, but then once
Right.
it was done, I was like, there are thousands of people going through this structure. I'm glad that we
Yeah.
reinforced it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even if
Just made you feel better.
it set us back a day, and I, we've both been to so many burns. You know that the temple opens late sometimes, or the man opens late. It's just part of it. So it wasn't like if we gotta wait a day or two to make it safer, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you have, I guess, your Burning Man history? Has the temple been something that's been important to you in the past?
Uh, Temple is it's for me the most special art project of Burning Man.
Mm.
Yeah, I always tell people, who've never been, it's difficult to go there and not feel something, or not cry, or release something, or have some sort of connection with all the faces of the people and animals and on pictures, and you feel, if you empathize with people there, it's just, there's a lot of grief and joy, and it's just like the most beautiful parts of being a human are concentrated in that place, and it's safe for everyone. It's okay to cry. It's okay to take a nap for an hour in the corner. Everyone's supported and loved, and it just gives me some hope in humanity again. A place like that, and that's the place at Burning Man for me.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's all the craziness and the chaos, and I love all that too. But yeah, the temple. I mean, it's burning in silence, and it's just there's something different about that.
Yeah.
Special. Yeah.
Was there any particular meaning, anything you were letting go of this year?
For me, I kind of let things go in life I try to let things go as they come. So I did have some friends in there who had passed. I think surprisingly, probably 5 or 6 people I knew in there that were on the walls, and one person actually that I didn't even know had passed. Somebody I knew from the coffee shop world when I was living in years ago, and this really great guy, and there's this picture up there, and I don't know who he knew that was a burner aside from me, and he's up on the wall. So
You only saw it when you were there.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so as far as letting anything else go, I don't know if I was letting anything go, but it just felt like I was like at home with, I just felt at home, felt peaceful, and I felt like my friends who were in there, that had passed, it was like it felt like it was okay, this is what we get, this little bit of time, this little blip of time, and just to have them honored in there, I thought was perfect.
Yeah. Did you feel like you've watched many temples of the other temples burn in the last 10 years? Do you usually stay?
All of them, yeah.
Yeah. Was it? Is this the first temple you've been a part of the construction crew?
Yeah.
And did you feel like the temple burn was a different experience, having been part of the construction crew?
Oh gosh, it's so much different.
Yeah. How so?
It's just it was just so sad. It was so sad and beautiful, of course. Gosh, my whole burn experience was different. Burning Man, the whole week of event week was just like I was so tired, I was so exhausted that it's like, oh yeah, the event's happening, like cool, like everyone's partying, and I just like feel like I've just like walked through a jungle for like weeks of just like macheting through just every day,
Yeah.
So the burn itself was it was a little sad to see everything burn, of course. We had just put those portals up. That was something I was really proud of. Had a really good team working for a couple days building these or assembling the rest of the portals, and we had just lugged these around and got them in the ground and worked so hard on these things. And then days later, 5 days later or something, 6 days later, we're taking them. Okay, we got to take these out of the ground and take them out of the ground with the VR and stack them. Let's just stack them on, on this. We needed to burn everything. We needed to burn it all together. So stacked them against the building. And it was like they were snapping and just, it was just so much work to put into this thing, and then to have it just okay, scoot it all in a big pile, and now we got to burn it.
Yeah.
But as sad as it was, sitting and watching the burn with the crew was like just like the memories of that experience, and the camaraderie, and the friendships that were gained were like, that was the bud that was going to come out of this fire.
Mm-hmm.
That was the fresh life. That was the experience. Something about painting a beautiful painting and burning it, or sand drawing, Tibetan sand drawing, and just like we spend years on these things, and just, blows away with the wind.
Right.
It's just like metaphorical for existence and universe, and just being part of this whole thing.
Right. Renzo, when I talked to him 2 days ago, had a similar feeling of it was much more painful for him.
I imagine.
People go there intending to let things go.
Right.
He just spent 3 years building it, creating, conceiving, and building something, and having to let it go that quickly is hard.
It's gotta be tough. It's like your baby, yeah. But the ultimate practice in non-attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't. Don't burn it. You got it's It had to be burned. But I think we all remind ourselves of how many thousands and thousands of people had their own personal experiences throughout the whole thing. People building it, and people that were at Burning Man, and just that's the reminder of created this beautiful little blip in history of Burning Man, and there's good and bad and everything in between, but it's creating art, and it's like it's a reflection of the hope for humanity.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you sort of came into community with the crew?
I think so. Yeah, made some really good friends. Walking away from it, I would say I've made like a handful of close friends,
mm-hmm.
and what's more valuable than that?
Yeah. Cool. Any this is just an open-ended question, but like any particular stories that were particularly memorable this year?
Gosh. Well, memorable. I remember going back to my Airstream to get some food or something. I forget. I was going in there, and everyone else was having dinner, and this crazy dust storm blows through. It's a really powerful dust storm, and I was just like, suddenly I was going to go back and join everyone. Suddenly I was like confined to my trailer. I could not see where everything was.
Mm-hmm.
It was blasting dust, and from what I heard is that they had like a dance party in the trailer, and like I just love that. I wasn't part of it, and that's okay. Like I was in my own survival world in my trailer, and the trailer was just full of dust, and might sound like bad memory, but it was like that's why that's part of it. Just being in that element of just you're not in charge, like nature's in charge out there.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, I remember the I feel like it was a Friday. Is it there's a Whitney Crack is Whack party?
Huh.
Yeah, it's a great party. They have it every year, and massive dust storm. It seemed like there was a dust storm every other day. That
Yeah.
was really bad.
There's a couple really bad ones. Yeah.
Um, it's just like the end of the world outside, and everybody's in this like canopy structure. She just as if nothing's happening.
Yeah. Oh, this is every day. Yeah. No big deal.
Yeah.
I think something, uh, just to add on to what you're asking about special moments,
Mhm.
being part of the pre-burn for me was really cool, and having, you know, and building, you know, we're already exhausted and we're like, now we got to build this, you know, pre-burn temple crew effigy to go burn with everybody else's, and that was like, okay, what are we gonna do? And a handful of people were like excited about it, so building that and just being part of the roots of Burning Man, and everyone has got their effigy they're building, and
Mhm.
some of them were basic and some of them were elaborate, and it didn't matter. It's just like, this is why we're here. That being part of that was really special.
Yeah.
For
Well, you
me.
want to expand on that? Sort of explain what that was.
What the concept is?
Yeah, yeah, just like about because I've kind of forgot about that, like
Yeah.
the how that pre-burn works and
Yeah.
what happens that night and what you created on like our cruise effigy.
Yeah, it's like a well, the pre-build or a pre-burn is like a every major group of Burning Man, who every team, you know, if you will, that's assembling the whole city pre-build, they do the pre-burn, and the pre-burn is at the Man Pavilion area, just outside of it, and everyone, every team, like Temple builds, the Man builds, any large project, I think Paradisium, they built one, you know, just any big project, they were building something, and there's a lot more I'm leaving out, but there were, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 of these pre-build effigies, and it was just whatever you wanted it to be, and ours was kind of like, we decided to do like these triangles. Some of them were kind of isosceles triangles, like steps that went up, and
Mhm.
they went around kind of like a staircase. And then we had like a like a sharp kind of like spire in the center of that, but that got kind of split open. It looked like something from like Lord of the Rings, like one of the towers from Lord of the Rings, that kind of where the eye is, like
Yeah.
it kind of split like that.
It was an unintentional split.
Yeah, well, somebody was like, let's put something between those, and you know, it's just it's very much a group effort, and it was after we were building, you know, a couple days. We had a couple days to build this thing, so it was after dinner we'd go and work on this thing, and that was some really creative, cool stuff came out of that. Like there were some silhouettes of people working that somebody had sketched, you know, their silhouettes, and they didn't know it, and like they cut those out of wood and put those on the effigy, and we had like these little bits and pieces of triangles everywhere that we said, let's put those on there, you know, and it was really special. And when it was burning, our whole, you know, our whole group was there, our whole build group, and we were so excited about it, and everyone kind of, while it was burning, we kind of dangerously all said, let's get in here and like get a picture of all of us. So everyone runs in with this thing like burning behind us. It wasn't anything crazy, but you know, it was dangerous enough. And of course, such as Burning Man.
Yeah.
And we're getting a picture of all of us. But that, we all felt like, you know, it felt like we were just such a team, and we were all so solid. It was a special moment for sure.
Yeah.
Very
It was
special
kind of an
moment.
unexpected bonding moment in the
Yeah.
middle of the
Yeah,
stress.
yeah. It was
There
like
was, there was still a lot to go.
oh yeah, and we all knew that. It was a nice little break though. It's like, okay, let's have our own little party, you know, our own little bonfire.
Yeah. Cool.
Excuse me.
Yeah, that's a great story. And you're going to go back this year?
Yep, I'll be back. I'm not sure if I'll be building temple, but I'll be back. Absolutely. I'm also a fly guardian at Fly Ranch, so I go up there a couple times a year, and I signed up for that. This is something I should have mentioned before. Volunteerism.
Yeah, tell
I'm
me about that.
I'm a fly guardian at Fly Ranch, and Fly Ranch is the property that Burning Man purchased, and they're doing turning it into like a educational center basically. you can read about it. There's like a Forbes article about it. It was really good. All these architects came together, and there, a handful of them were chosen to build at this site. It's a really special site. It's a wetland. Surprisingly, it's really close to the Burning Man site, Black Rock. It's right next to Black Rock Ops, which is where they keep the year-round project going, and they're building things constantly. There's always people out there. But I am a Fly Ranch guardian, so I go and I protect Fly Ranch, basically. It's an ecological preserve.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of species there flourishing. There's a geyser there. There's like a hot spring there. It's a beautiful place. There's wild horses. It's incredible. So I volunteered to be a flag guardian, and I go up there a couple times a year, and probably go up there pretty soon. And there's a little box you can stay in, basically, with a heater, and it's got Wi-Fi and solar, and it's pretty cool. It's going to be. I'm excited about what it's going to be. It's going to be basically a model. Fly Ranch is pretty much, from my perspective. Somebody might tell you it's a little different, but it's pretty much a model for it's like an educational center. It's going to be an educational center as to how we can be more sustainable with the planet, and be more responsible, and test these systems of solar and composting toilets and preserving the environment, all kind of wrapped into one. So it's a special place.
And that's all run by the org?
Yep, it's a property that was purchased by the org.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I want to say it's. I forget how many acres. It's a couple thousand acres. It's huge.
Yeah.
So, but it's right down the road. So now I know that layout a lot more. Mm-hmm. When I go out there, I'll sleep on the playa, and for a night, and hang out, and go to Trago Hot Springs, and might not want to say that on there, but yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Put this in. I forgot to
I'm sorry.
No, it's these things.
Like that, probably.
No, it's sort of like
These booms are always like that. These mic stands.
tighten the thing down. I noticed the levels though; it was still recording.
Oh, okay.
So there was. You sort of answered this before, but I just want to re-ask. There was the night. I thought one of the cool moments that we had out there was the day that Tree J asked everybody, "Why are you here?"
Yeah.
And I'm curious if you remember what you said, or you have a thought of why'd you go do that?
Just to be part of something, a collective energy, I think, with people, and without expecting any reward, and just building this thing together. I think it's metaphorical for the direction that humanity really needs to go if we're going to continue on this planet in a healthy way. So being a part of that with all these people, and being part of something that I feel is so special, just it's the ultimate, working together for a better future. It sounds cliche, but working together for the future is really what's the most important thing right now on the planet, if we're going to survive as a species.
Yeah. And it was a group effort.
Oh yeah, it was a group effort.
It was intense. Anything that you feel like you learned this year?
Like an existential level, or
I don't know. Just it was so intense. This is an open-ended question. You don't have to have an answer.
Anything I learned?
Or maybe anything that you've learned by just going to Burning Man through the years.
I definitely have a different perception of Burning Man now. I have a higher respect for what goes into everything. I know that people are out there working hard, pre-build and LNT, but this is to see it firsthand and to experience that is just a new respect for that. It's a massive endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
It's massive, and there's tons of energy. People are pouring energy into this thing, and it's it's crazy and chaotic at the same time. You know, I don't know if you know about the history much of Burning Man. It's like built by carnies back in the day, so it's like it's held that like weirdness to it. You know, no matter what some people say it's changed and it's all Silicon Valley people now, but it's got some roots there that are really solid. They're not, you know, that it comes from a special place of creative expression.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. Cool. That's kind of the end of my questions, but any other stories from this year or anything else that you wanted to, like, oh, I should have asked about this?
Yeah, right. I'll probably think of something later tonight. Yeah.
Well, I guess we mentioned it at the beginning of the interview, but I'm curious about how you felt the morning after that the flame fell over and broke. Like, how did you?
Yeah, when the flame blew over, it's pretty disheartening. We put a lot of work into that in Davis and on site. But I mean, in a situation like any of the builds over the years, there's so many issues that come up. It's like all of it boils down to problem solving. So it's like if you fall up, you get back up. You know, you fall down, you get back up. So it was like, okay, this is going to set us back. This piece that broke, and there's no, you know, the only option I guess would have been not to have the center flame. I think that was talked about briefly, but it wasn't really an option. We were so determined to accomplish what Renzo's vision was, like to accomplish this vision, because we were all manifesting in our heads every day, 24/7, like we're building this thing.
Mhm.
That it would have been, I think we would have felt defeated if we just like had walked away, you know.
Right.
Maybe if it had gone on like, you know, days into event week and there's like, you know, we have to open, we would have abandoned something, but yeah, we didn't. We pushed through, and that was part of the experience. I mean, that's part of the overall whole thing. It's like we have to complete this task together, and the harder the more difficult the road, the greater the reward, and I think it definitely paid off for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really had to dig deep though.
Yeah. I mean,
Every day.
we had to like recalibrate after that happened. But yeah, every day was brutal. You know, I'm usually pretty prepared with my, on any outdoor adventure, but you know, I had some great shoes, but they were like, my feet were killing me. You know, it's like, it was brutal. It was like a, different level. You go to Burning Man, you roll around on the ground and you get acclimated and you go through a dust storm and you're, oh man, this is intense. But going out there and building in that dust and that heat and just...
Yeah, your feet are sweating.
Oh yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. But, you know, I kind of thrive in that area. I like the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So that it was fun at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you were a steadying force out there, I thought. Like, and it
Thanks.
was... I think people appreciated your leadership.
I didn't fancy myself a leader, and I kept telling Renzo, like, I don't want to, I'll help us get certain things done, and steer people in direction if they don't have as much carpentry knowledge. But, the way I see it is like we're building it all together. There's no like hierarchy.
Right.
There's just like people who have a better understanding of how to get it done, maybe, or what we're doing. I was still learning about how to read blueprints, and like I could see how it needed to be finished, but it's like it was all problem solving, all of it. So, and I enjoy that. It's like a puzzle, putting together this massive puzzle.
Yeah. That had never been put together before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess except for the canopies that are up in Santa Rosa. So that was we kind of were ahead of the curve in some ways, because we had an idea of what I didn't build those. I wasn't part of those builds, but we could visualize what it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that gave us an edge for sure. Yeah.
It was a cool experience.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. I would definitely do it again. It's funny because the week after, and you had the same experience, a week or two after, like, you know, it was like, I don't want to, I don't know, I might take a break from Burning Man after this. That was just so intense, and it took up such a huge chunk of time. Um, but then you see the next one, and you're like, wow, that looks like fun.
Yeah.
I want to go out there, and you know, it's going to be a whole different group of people, and you know, whether or not I go out there, either way, it's going to be an awesome year. I'm going to go camp with other friends or be a part of something else. But it's inspirational to be a part of it. It's just, yeah, Burning Man's like nothing else. So the temple is like, yeah, the place to be.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for talking with me, Eric.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. This is great. I think that's it.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. I think I'll pack this stuff up and go have lunch with Adam.
Okay.
He's invited me to lunch down there, and it's not going to take 2 hours because I'm not biking.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
I have a bike you could borrow. I have a Burning Man.
okay,
bike
well then
you could borrow.
it would take 2 hours and 15 minutes according to Google Maps.
I know. I wonder what speed that is too. It's like 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Well, thanks so much. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so stop this guy. Stop.
I think I've only been interviewed once before ever.
Really?
Yeah, for the band. And I was so nervous. I was like, oh god.